Hi, everybody. My name is Gladys, and I'm your host for today. Welcome to Righteous Women Talk Show. So, alongside me, I have my panelists. Starting on the very top corner there, we have Irene. If you could just wave, and then followed by Fusi Saini, who's normally our host, and we have Avish at the bottom there. Great. So just following up on last week's challenge. Last week's challenge was if you, as the viewers and audience, were to put yourself in our shoes, how making comparison with others, what are some of the advice and tips that you would give? Comment below. Thank you to those that actually did reach out via message and messaged us privately, and also just expressing your love and support and also giving your feedback. We really, really appreciate it. Awesome. So this week's episode, we'll be talking about just wanting more in life. So, a lot of times we think, oh, we can't do certain things, because there are restrictions, there are barriers that stop or get in our way. So it's okay to want more in life. For example, wanting more money, wanting to take more holidays, vacations, wanting a bigger house, nicer cars, just nicer things in general, and also having a successful business. Just wanting those nice things and still be grateful for, what you have as of current and present. So my question is to the panel. We'll probably could start with Fusi. Fusi, has there ever been a time in your life where you really, really wanted something, but you felt restricted, or you felt like, it's impossible, I can't get there, or I won't be able to achieve it? Or if you have already reached that place or that goal that you wanted to achieve, what are some of your thoughts about that?
Thanks for that. That's a really good question, Gladys. I straight away thought about a goal that is a goal I feel my parents kind of like set for me. So I'm saying it's not that it's not my goal, but I think a lot of the reason why it now is my goal is because my parents, that was their dream. And I so I haven't reached that goal yet, and I feel like it was almost like I don't want to say it because then I will feel, like if it doesn't happen, then I didn't achieve that thing. It's more so what I was getting at is that when you're talking about goals and talking about wanting more in life, I think I definitely want more in life, and like I'm talking about specifically my education. I've achieved some of that in terms of my education goals. I still have other education goals, and my parents always remind me about it. And I always say to them that it's great, and that's a great thing to aspire to. And have you noticed I've been very careful about not saying exactly what it is? It's just the education goal. And my parents, I think I appreciate them and the encouragement and stuff, but my big thing is timing. That's what I think is important, in my opinion and in my perspective. I always say to my parents, it's gonna happen, mom and dad, but you just gotta wait on the timing of when it's right. So for me, that's the important thing. And when I think about timing, I know things are right when I know that I feel God is often gives me like a feeling, and I'll understand in the way things are happening in my life that He's setting up that opportunity and that it's time. So I think it's great. I think most people aspire to be a lot more than what they are. I think God expects us to be a lot more than what we are too. But it's when it's the right time to move towards those goals. And for all of us, we're all at different places. That's what we were talking about last week, which I think matches up nicely with this continuation of the same conversation, is that all of us are in different places of where we are in our journey. And only we know where we are is where we're supposed to be. And only we know when God is saying it's time to move. And as much as I love advice from everyone, and I always listen to what my parents say, like I take it on board. But if it doesn't match with what God is telling me and how I'm feeling about what's right for my life, then I won't act on it. So wait for make sure it's the right timing in the pursuit of any worthwhile goal. That's my thoughts.
Nice.
Awesome. I love that, Pussy. Thank you for sharing that. And like, like Pussy mentioned too, like, that's awesome that, our parents, a lot of times our parents do have a lot of goals that, and, dreams and aspirations that they want us as their children to achieve. As Zany mentioned last week, in last week's episode, they have your life all set up for what that, they want the best for you as parents. So Avish, my question is to you, just following alongside what Fusi shared about, expectations of her parents wanting the set life for her, and then her wanting to reach some of those goals. She feels that she's achieved some of them, but she's still working towards wanting to achieve those goals. So my question is to you, what are some of the things that stop, what are some of the barriers, or let's say, what are some of the things, stigmas that stop you from wanting to achieve those goals, wanting to be successful? Do you feel that you have all that you need and that all that you're content with in life? Are you happy with where you're at, or do you want more? Are there any restrictions that stop you from wanting to achieve that?
I think, I definitely want more, and I definitely know I can achieve more. And I think a lot of the restrictions come from myself. A lot of times people put their own restrictions and limitations on themselves. Either that, or they listen too much, they turn to the left, to the right, and look at whatever everyone else is doing, and they compare their abilities to other people's, and so that limits their own belief. But I think we have to realize that we do have the capacity and ability to achieve more, and that we are created to be more and achieve all that we can. And so for me, understanding that, I know I can be more and have more, and I'm working on it. But I think that there's stigma in this world that we live in, which comes from heaps of different places. But I think it's important for everyone to know that we are created, and we do have the capacity to achieve more. And I think for me, my upbringing, my parents encouraged me to do this and that, but they never really pushed me. Or maybe I think I got to a point where they kind of just eased off. And I think later on in life, I wish that I had really strict parents that pushed me to do this and that, but they didn't. And I think I had to do it myself, just motivate myself to do this and that. I didn't really have parents pushing me. And so like Fussy, when you're talking about your parents, they had this and that for me, I think that's really awesome. I think my parents were just really focused on providing and also doing their best. Like, they were awesome parents, but they didn't really push me to do certain things. And so I had to find that within myself. But I think in a way, for me personally, it was good, because today I kind of know that I have to push myself and motivate myself and use it every day to continue to work on my goals.
I'm going to go next. I was thinking about that, wanting more. So like I said before, I was a teen mum, restricted me from achieving my goals and dreams at the time. 17 years old, had my first child, and then, it restricted me a lot. But along the way, my goals and my dreams ended up being for my family. I went through that I was really lucky, to be honest, girls. I was really lucky to have a dad that just wanted us to finish school and be the best that we can be. And so with that kind of guidance from my father, that's what I've ended up put on my own children. And that stigma we talk about, that you want more, when our Pacific Island families, because they came here, my parents came here for a better life. I'm sure your parents did the same thing. And so with that comes a responsibility, if you can put it like that. And so I was grateful for my father. He never put that on us. And I guess it's because he was still trying to find his feet in raising a family by himself. But because of that, that's how I've become the way that I am as a mother. I pushed my children to finish high school. I mentioned that before in the last episode, to at least get all their levels, to get a foot in the door, but to aspire to be something that they would like to be. And that they can be more if they wanted to, and it's okay. I like what Saini said. Nails, lashes. I'm not girly girl. You guys most probably can tell by that. My daughters do all this. I don't do anything. But what I do like is I'd like for one time in the 30 years that I've been a mother to sleep in. That's my want. I tried it on Mother's Day, didn't work. I was up at 5. And I'd like, when my children are all growing, and my grandchildren, that me and my husband can finally just relax, if you can understand that. We find great joy when we see our children achieving the things they want in life. That's like, honestly, for me, that's the greatest blessing for me. And so just watching my children grow, and now my grandchildren, I always encourage my daughters to not put that on their children when they grow up. It's okay to help guide them, so to speak. But I like what Fusi said too. Education is key. You have to have some kind of education behind you to kind of help you survive in this world, to be honest. Nowadays, it's so hard for our youth. I always think about my young ones that are still at college and just trying to be there for them. But like Abish said, I went through a phase where I limited my own self. And when I went to Auckland Uni, I got into Auckland Uni on my own merits. I got into law school on my own merits, but it was hard. I didn't graduate. I did 3 years, and my children are now, it's really funny, my children are now playing the mother card and telling me to go finish, but it's not what I aspired to do, if you guys can understand that. So I have this education. I still don't know what I'm going to do, guys. I'm like 48 this year. Still don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to figure it out. But as long as I'm happy, that's key for me.
That's awesome, Irene. I definitely think you can go back and finish off that degree. Like you completed 3 years, and like you said, most of your kids are a bit older now and have taken on board that mother role. And that's awesome that they're there to support you as well. And I just feel that, being supported around family and just good positive vibes. With me, for example, my idea of breaking that stigma is a little different. Like, for example, with me, and let's say we have a lot of birthday celebrations within my Tongan culture, and in certain culture, there's certain traditions that we have to do, protocols that we have to follow. Whereas, and I feel that I will take away some of that good culture, like, some of the things, but I wouldn't necessarily use most of them. And like, I'm glad that, I feel that arriving here in New Zealand, being born and raised here, being raised in a westernized society, like upbringing, it's a lot different. Like back then, our parents, they were raised differently from their parents, whereas in us, it's a different generation now. Everything has changed. Like if I were to have a conversation with my mum now, as opposed to back when I was, in high school or intermediate, I just remember being raised in school, you get up, you give a speech, you speak up, whereas and then you come home, it's like if you speak up, it's you talking back, or being like you're thinking you know it all just because you go to school or whatever it is. And so sometimes I felt that growing up, that was kind of like a restriction or a barrier for me, that whole mindset of like, okay, if I reach this goal, or if I achieve this, am I referred to as, like, am I selfish for wanting more? I'm the oldest, I'm supposed to, stay back and just be an example, look after the other ones.
Yeah, I think it's important for parents to, like, for children going through that experience, that where there are people crushing their dreams, it's important for them to grow up in homes where they can talk to their parents about anything. And it's important for parents and kids to have those conversations, but then for those parents to bust the cap off those limitations, to help them see that we're living in a world where people are going to tell you these things, but don't believe them. You've got to just stay focused on your goal and keep going. And so, you know, we need to know that we live in this kind of world, but we also need to know that we should never listen to those people, and we should start listening to those people that believe in themselves and are working on achieving these things. I was listening to someone a few months ago, and he was a guest speaker somewhere, and he was approached by someone who asked him, do you know why you are achieving all these things and doing so well? And he didn't know. And he said, it's because you say that you're the best at everything. And then he pondered, and then he remembered that every day his dad would wake him up in the morning and say, you're the best, you are the best. And just every day, and not even till he was an old man, until he died, his dad would wake him up and say, you're the best, you're the best. And then he looked at his goals, and his goals were to be the best this, to be the best this. And so he achieved that, but it was because he had that mentality. And so it's important for us as parents to try and believe in ourselves, but also pass that on to our children, because they are going to be surrounded by limitations. And so for me, I have just all these set goals. And when the question was asked, what do you want to achieve? I was like, oh, I can't just say this or this and this, because then it's going to mess up my mentality when I know I want this. But if I say I want this, my mind's going to be going, what should I do? But it just reminded me of a thing. We need to say that we want to be the best in something, because that's how our brains function. Our brain knows how to, although we may not know how to be the best, our brain is so awesome that it's going to work together and put things together so that eventually we can become the best. But if we just say, I want to be okay in this, or I want to do this and be all right, your brain doesn't know how to do that. And so it's not going to do anything. And so I have some goals. I'm not there, but I'm on a journey, taking steps daily. I want to be the best female property investor in New Zealand. I want to have 100K in the bank this year. I want to be one of the best powerlifters. I don't do powerlifting, I've never done it, but it's a goal. And so I've already told myself I want to be the best at powerlifting, and I've got a list. And so I couldn't lie to myself and just say on here, I want to do this and this, because then my mind's going to be like, oh, but you want to do this. So yeah, we've got to really try and believe in ourselves and not worry about what everyone else thinks, but just stay focused on our goals. And especially as parents, we've got to build our kids up and help them be aware of those conversations that they may have at school, and just say, oh, don't worry, but you can do this, and go on and go and do it.
I really like that, Avish. I really like how you said that. Us as parents, we need to start feeding positive words into our children's heads. Like, they're going to go to school, they're going to get, the backlash of the negative. Oh, you're poor, you're a brown kid, you can't afford it, or your mummy's this, or your daddy's that. We need to break those stigmas. We need to feed life into them to help them realize and know that, they can achieve whatever they set their mind to. And I really, really like what you shared about, just you are in charge of your own mindset. You can achieve whatever. Just dream big. I got my bachelor's degree, but then I couldn't go further. Why? Because I'm the oldest, I'm supposed to stay back, and then I got married, and then it's that typical stigma, that mindset that kind of like, oh nah, just stay home, be a wife, just stay home, work, you're working, you got a good job, you just stay home and look after your daughter, kind of thing. And you're the oldest, you're supposed to set a good example. Anything you do is kind of like, you have other siblings.
That's what you're saying. Like, there's a key word that you're saying, like, I'm supposed to do this. Like, yeah, that's the stigma. I'm supposed to. Like, who says you're supposed to? You don't have to live by that. Like, just break those barriers and do what you want, achieve what you want. But you have to step back and be like, what is it that I do want? I don't have to do this. I have to get rid of. And that's what a lot of people, like, even me at one point, I was like, I'm supposed to do this. But yeah, just break those barriers.
Can I add, I want to add a comment. I really liked all the things you guys shared, and I thought about something that I want that I'm not, and I want to talk a little bit about that. And it's something that you guys all are, but I'm not. And often we speak about motherhood like it's like like it's not, there's no, like we think of success in the sense that you've got this career, and if you're just a stay-at-home mom, then you're not really, that doesn't really count for anything. And I want to say that if you think like that, then um, it's sad. And I say that because I'm not a mother, but I wish I was. I haven't had the opportunity to like have my own family, be married and have children, but I wish I did have that opportunity. And for anyone out there that feels like, oh, I'm just a stay-at-home mom, I'm not really anything, you actually have the best job in the world. I wish I had that job. And I'm like not in that position. So I have time to like pursue other things because I'm not in that position. But if I could say to God, give me something that I don't have right now, I would choose that. So to anyone that thinks I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm not really anything, I want to say you're wrong. You actually have, I really liked the way I think C.S. Lewis said it. He said, all careers exist to support the ultimate career. The ultimate career is what you're doing as a mother. You can't do anything that is more meaningful, more worthwhile, more has a far-reaching, profound effect than raise your children. So that's the first thing I want to say, because that's something that I want that I don't have. And whenever that happens, what I feel is God is so smart in that he helped me to realize after a long period of time that the journey that I'm on, and yeah, I'm doing all these other things, but all of those things are preparation for when I do become a mother. That is my goal. That is what I really want. And I didn't really want to say that because I don't want to say that because I think it unearths some of my feelings about a whole bunch of different things in my life. And that's why I was trying to hold that back. But I want to say that that's what I want. But in the meantime, I'll tell you about some other things I want. And I'm grateful to Abish for saying the things that she wants. When I started my first commented, I couldn't say what I really want. And it's exactly what Gladys was talking about, which is, it's like there's a stigma attached to wanting to be ambitious, especially if you're a female, right? It's different. Let's be honest, it's different for males. Got different, whole bunch of different expectations. But for us females, there's not much expected from us. And so I'll tell you about some of my other goals, and they're quite ambitious ones too, which is why I was a bit shy about saying that for the same reasons, right? I'm like, people might be like, oh, that's quite ambitious. Like, can you actually do that? Well, to everyone that thinks that, yes, Fusi is going to do it. First thing, I'll tell you 3 things. The first thing, my parents kind of planted, this is the goal. My parents planted this idea in my head, and God told me I could do it. Like I said, it's just when it's the right time. I'm gonna get a PhD. That is what my parents want. And I love my parents. And for them, I will pursue that when it's the right time. The time might be coming soon. Just watch the space. I want to write a book. I have no idea. I've been saying this goal since I studied English at university. When I started studying English, I was like, what the heck? I sort of alluded to this last week. I had no idea what I was going to do with my English degree. And then I told myself I should write a book because I kind of like writing. I want to write a book. What sort of book? I don't know. And there's something I started to write, but I don't know if that's actually going to be the book. How it's going to get published, who knows? Like, God will make that happen when it's time. Like I said, when it's time. I also really want to be healthier. And I say healthier because often when we think about losing weight, we think, I want to look good. I already look good. I want to be healthier. And that's a goal that I always put on the back burner for my whatever excuses I make for myself. But that is a goal that needs to be worked on. So, and you know what my other goal is. I would like to be a mother. Don't be afraid to want more. And like I said, and Abish alluded to it too, like, God expects us to be more than what we are. And I think there's something my friend always says to me, and I really like, he always reminds me, he says, when I'm laying on my deathbed, I want to have regrets. He's right. You don't want to have regrets at the end of your life. So have the courage to pursue your goals, whatever they may be. Yes, they may be ambitious. You're probably thinking, how the heck am I going to make this work? If it's meant to be, it's going to work. Trust the process and trust God. If that's your thing, which it should be your thing. If it isn't your thing, trust God. He'll make it work for you. And that is my comment.
Love that, Fusi. Fusi, you are beautiful. Yes, and I truly believe you, all of
You
us.
are.
I am a firm believer in you, so I support you. Me and the panelists, I'm sure, I speak for myself. You are a beautiful person, Fusi. Thank you for sharing that with us. Were there any other remarks or thoughts from the rest of the panelists you wanted to add on?
Yeah, I'm going to add on to that. I really love what the other two just spoken, and I could see how hard it was to actually voice it and to say it, not only to your friends, but we're talking to the whole of social media, right? And so I think of all the females that are tuning in tonight and how hard it is for them to dream big, because all they've ever been told is that do this or don't amount to this, or just go get a job and pay the bills, live this life because it's safe, right? We've been taught to play it safe, don't take risks. And so I just want to commend you both on telling us your goals, and I absolutely 100% believe that you'll both achieve it. So thank you for sharing. There are people who are so simple. They don't have gears, they don't have a flash car, but they have a lot of dosh in the bank, right? Because they save. That's just who they are. And then there are a lot of people who look flash that may be broke, but if that's the case, that's their business. What we need to do is mind our own. And it's so important, like mind your own business, because what people do has got nothing to do with you. And if it were the other way around and people were judging you, you'd get upset, right? You'd get upset. So I think today, if you want more, if you want 100 grand in the bank, if you want $1 million, like for me, I'm going to be honest, I want to earn $1 million a year. That equates to $19,000 a week, and that's $500 an hour. So I want to make $500 an hour. And being a network marketer, I know that's possible. It might not happen in 2 years, 3 years, but it will happen. And saying it, people just think that it's so weird to see an islander dream that big. $1 million a year is crazy, right? But at the same time, that's a desire that I have, because I know that a lot can happen when dosh falls into the right hands.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with earning a lot of money, right? Everyone says that the root of evil is money, but it's not. It's the love of money. Yep. The moment that you love it more than your family, more than your job, more than paying bills, that's when it becomes evil. Mm-hmm. But if you desire to have a large income for the purpose of helping, or having Kmart money, just like I said, like that's my desire. And I want my children to grow up and have a desire to do anything that they want, and I know as parents we want the best for our children, but really the best is being happy. Sometimes it's not driving a car that's flash, or sometimes it is, but you just have to mind your own business and do you, if that makes sense.
Can I add to that? I was just think that I think what Irene said and what Sani just said really is true. I was thinking about often what we see people, we make judgments about their life, but what we miss is the part that is important, which is the intention of why they're doing what they're doing. And see, like Sani gave a really good example of it, which is money, for example. If your intention is good, then it's not a bad thing, where we often think it is, you know what I'm saying? So that's the thing, like just to add to the part about mind your business, I agree with that. I think it is important to mind your business in terms of don't look at other people and judge them, because you don't know what their intentions are. And you can appreciate their work, like Abish alluded to this earlier, about like using that as motivation for yourself, to build yourself and not be looking and like being jealous or being envious, but thinking, that's cool. Feel inspired by those examples, right? Which is they're doing great. If they can do it, then you can too. Like, mind your own business in that way. But also mind your own business in the sense that remember that your only competition is yourself. Yeah. The only person you're trying to be better than is yourself. The person you were yesterday, the person you were last year. Mind your own business in that way, as in focus on yourself and being better than the person you were yesterday. I think if we spend, I always think about this, like, to not focus my energy looking elsewhere and seeing what everyone else is doing, but focusing my energy on trying to improve myself. That helps a lot when I get fuzzy in my head, like my mental health starts taking a dive. Is usually I have to check myself and remember check that that's not what I'm doing. Because usually my head gets fuzzy when I'm too busy looking around at other people. But when I'm just thinking about how can Fusi be better than how Fusi was last week and the week before and the last month and last year, then it puts me back in check and in focus of what it is I should be focusing on, which is my own business, my own self, my own growth. And as we do that, it's so true. I think Saini wrapped it up nicely when she said the goal is to be happy. If you're happy with where you are, and even if you're not at whatever goal you're at, like I really liked Aprish's goal about being a powerlifter, and she was like, there's kind of not, like, that's a goal she has, but it's not something she's working on right now. I like that because that highlights, I think, the point that we're getting at, which is it's good to want more, but be happy with the progress you're making wherever you are in the journey of achieving that goal. Often we think about we'll only be happy once we reach the goal, once we've achieved that thing we want. It's not about getting to the destination. It's about enjoying the journey to whatever that destination is, whatever goal you have. Enjoy the process, the progress you make as you move towards those goals, and be happy with that, and know that even more exciting, better things are to come as you continually progress towards that destination.
Definitely true what everyone's been saying, and I think you're all just touching on being happy, like in the process or where you are now, wherever you are in your journey, being happy, because I think lately over the past few weeks of isolation, everyone's been doing some pondering. Even people that we deem as successful, have it all in social media, they are realizing that they're not actually happy. They have all of this, but they've been neglecting all of these small and simple things like their family. And so they've realized they're not actually happy, and they are going to switch things up. And so definitely trying to be happy on the journey, but making sure you're successful at home as well. And that's why I like what Irene was saying is, she's happy trying to focus on her kids and help them be successful, pushing them in their education and everything. Because, if you're not happy at home, but you're trying to do all these other things, like home is where the heart is, and you come home every day, and, that's where you are all the time. And so that is part of your success journey, trying to build and grow a happy home. So I think that's important. And so all the mums that are out there, if all you're doing is being a mum at home, you don't have other jobs, then you can make that a success in every single day. Teach your child all that they can do, build them up to be strong and confident in this world. Like, that is a success in itself, building confident, successful, happy children and being a happy mum at the same time.
Can I just add, something in there? We've talked today about our children and how we as parents, we need to breathe life and love into them and help them with their thinking. But at the same time, we also need to do that to our spouses.
Yes,
for those that are tuning in, everyone knows that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And we have a lot of males who have messaged and talking about the pressure that they feel as men, and most importantly as island men. And so it's good for us to breathe life into our children, but also into our spouses, because they take a lot on and they don't talk about it as much as ladies do. So just being positive to your partner, and telling him that he's smart and he's awesome, you know, to gear him up before he starts his day, because who knows the things that he's hearing out in the world, right? So he needs somewhere or someone that he knows is always going to be there for him, rather than nagging all the time and criticizing him. And all the wives are like, yep. So we need to be that for our spouses as well, that they can dream big, they can have anything they want in life.
Like that.
Love that. Awesome. And I really like how you shared that, Sandy. Like a lot of times we think, just the children is the main focus, but our husbands too, our spouses, our partners, whether you're a husband or whether you're a wife, a daughter, if you're a boyfriend or a girlfriend, it's important to support one another and, you know, just be positive vibes. But
Even
yeah,
our
also,
dads.
yeah. Go ahead, Sammy. Sorry, you're
I said even our dads.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
too.
I just want to share, there's this counsel my father gave me ever since I've been with my husband before. Two things. My dad sat down with my husband when we came to him, and my husband's never faced a father before. And I was 7 months pregnant, and then he said these things he asked these questions. He said, "Are you absolutely sure that you want to take my daughter on? Are you absolutely sure you're ready for that responsibility? And two, once you make a family, that's your responsibility. You're the patriarch of that family." Something I've always loved my dad for. The counsel he gave to me as a daughter and as a wife to my husband was this. He'd always say, don't ever talk badly about your husband's family or to him, because you never know what's going on in his mind and especially in his heart. I've never forgotten that counsel by my dad. I'm not innocent from all those things of nagging and blah, 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 but I've gotten better. 32 years of being with Tau, I've gotten better, ladies. If anything, we've done the switch 160s, 180 roll. He's the one that does the nagging. It's really funny. But I love that. Don't forget your husbands. Don't. Honestly, even your dads. I love my dad. Even now, he still gives me counsel, and I love it, because one day when the time comes, you will miss it. You'll miss hearing their voice. You'll miss being next to them. And so, yeah, that's just my little thing I wanted to share, that just thought of my dad and my husband.
Thanks for sharing that.
Just reminded me, like, me and my dad, we talk, but we don't really like talk. And then he was messaging me one day, and then I had to watch different videos, and then he said, call me back, tell me what you think. And then I said a little prayer, and it was like, help me have a better relationship with my dad. Like, we have a relationship, a good one, but it can definitely be stronger. Like, we just now and then like chit chat, but nothing really in depth. And I had maybe like almost an hour phone call with him. And the thought came to me, like, speak his language. And so we started talking about properties, and he really loves properties. And so we spoke for like almost an hour, and I had a really good conversation with him. And so even me in my journey now, I've moved away from my dad, but you know, now and then, I don't know what's going on in his mind, how he's going and everything, but I really felt that he had an awesome conversation with me, and I was just trying to speak his language, something that he really enjoys. So that was really cool, just trying to, strengthen that with him.
We are so busy with our dreams and our desires to truly succeed that we often forget that our parents are growing old. And it's a quote I see all the time, but it's truth, right? So I think we have to remember that even though we have our lives to live, and for those for us who get married, we tend to like pay more attention to our immediate family, but our parents are still there. They're still in our corner, you know, being our cheerleaders, but just taking the time to to say to them that they're great parents, or to thank them for all the sacrifices that they've done, that has shaped us into the people that we are today. So yes, live your life, achieve your dreams, but don't forget your parents.
Thank you for sharing. And just like the rest of the panelists shared their experiences today, you can do it. Dream big, and don't ever let that stigma that the color of your skin or being an islander keep you small. You can achieve those goals. You can do it. Until then, this is A Righteous Woman.
Bye.
Bye.